Okay, so today's spotlight is on the event calendar, and it creates a really cool event calendar page here. You can put your events in it, have a preview image. You can even have a choice of having this fall into a stream, or it automatically creates an events page on your site. So for now, this is the list view. It also has like a month view. It has a day view. I always turn that off because this is the problem with you have the event for the month. If you don't have any events that month, you can go to the next month. You'd have to kind of keep looking for the events. So what's really nice about the listing, here you go. What's nice about the listing is if you don't have a lot of events, it'll always show you the next one coming up, even if it's a long time away. The other thing you can kind of put on these event calendars too is if a new catalog is coming out. So you can make a new catalog event and the RSVP be, to buy your catalog or something or order it online. So you could use this not only for a calendar, but for, special celebration. And, that way it's on your calendar and people can remember. And like I said, there's also an option that if you create an event, you can have that show up in your home stream. And what I mean the home stream is it'll publish it as if it is an article. So I don't have that turned on here. You can just see the events show up only on the event page. So let's go to plugins. I have typed in, you go to add new here. And you have to be pretty specific. So it's the event calendar. And I already have it logged in. It is by Modern Tribe. And then the second one that I have is registrations for the event calendar. And I'm cheap because the event calendar works really, really nicely. And this one's by Roundup WP. And as you can see, I have it on and active. But the event calendar has a paid version, a premium version, and I think it's terrific, but I don't ever need anything any more than free. And this little plugin made a registration module that works right inside the event calendar. So once you turn it on, you'll see you now have an events tab. I'm going to click that tab to open up all of the options here. Again, I already have it running, but the first thing you're going to want to do is to check your settings. It warns you up here when using it. We recommend you use a time zone city. So what they mean is down here in let's see, I can't scroll down. I'll just take a moment to show you what that is. So in settings, in your sidebar, it's off the screen, sorry. You have your name and your information in here, and I have the time zone as UTC -5. But if you go by UTC, the problem with that is if I'm in the Eastern time zone and spring rolls around and we have daylight savings time, it's not going to quite be accurate. So this is extremely confusing. However, I'll try. You have to find your city. Let me pull this up a little. So in the time zone, it doesn't go by, it goes by the world actually. So these are cities in Africa. So you're going to scroll down to America and it's after all the time zones. No, I guess it's not. It's before that. So go to America and try to find the one closest to you, the city's closest to you. And if it has several in Indiana, I think it's because Indiana might have different time zones. I don't know. So I am going to look for New York because I'm in the Eastern time zone. And I know that there's got to be New York in here. It always surprises me what they don't have. So I'm on New York, and so I'm going to save changes here. And you can see now, if you go back to that plugin for events and settings, that warning is gone. Okay? And so, reading from the top here, before we get to general, we have show the events calendar link. So I have that turned on. This is a dummy site. And it says calendar powered by the events calendar. So if you don't want that, you can turn that off. And they're asking to help out by giving them, the link, and it explains how to find it, because it's confusing, but it does not create a page called events. So if you go to your pages, you're not going to see a page called events. You're going to be yourdomain.com/events. And it shows you that in the settings, but if you go looking for the page, you won't find it. So number of pages per page, I'm going to change that from 5 to 10. And then enable live refresh, meaning instant updates happening, which is fine. You can enable or disable comments on the event pages. And those comments are just like comments on your blog. You'll get a notification that somebody commented. If you want to just keep it to where they have to contact you, you can turn that off. Include events in the main blog loop. That is what I meant by when you post an event, it will show up in your blog post. It'll show up as your latest post, as well as on the event calendar. If you have an RSS to broadcast, meaning when you post, it automatically sends out a broadcast to your subscribers, this will show up in that if you click this. If you don't, I don't believe it shows up as an article, so if you don't check that, it will not show up in your main feed, and it will not post with your newsletter. Okay, so here's the events URL slug. Whatever you make it here, that becomes the link. It'll be yourdomain.com/events. And then if there's a single event, it's going to, in the URL for a single event. So what do we mean? If I click on this, so this is the events listing, you can see /events. If I click on an event, it doesn't say events, it says event. So when it says slug, that's part of the, slug is a weird word for the URL of the site, the exact location. So you can set the cutoff of the day. I make it 12 a.m. so nobody can register that day, or if you wanted to make it up until 2 hours before the event, your event is at 7 p.m. I'm going to make this 5 p.m. So people have to give me at least 2 hours notice. Oh, okay. So I scroll down maybe too fast. 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 11 a.m. I don't know why that doesn't go any further. Okay, so, if the event runs past midnight, select the time the events end. I apologize. End of day cutoff. Say you have a multi-day event, or your event runs to 1 a.m. That's where you can, okay. If you don't specify a time change, that's why it's the AM. So ignore what I said before. So if it ends at 2 a.m., if you have an event that, that's all night basically, till, a sleepover, you don't want it to show up as the next day's event. Just because it runs into the next day, you want to have a cutoff. So you might say till 7 a.m. the next morning, or whatever, you're going to be kicking them out. Default currency symbol, choose the one for your country, and that will show. Currency symbol follows the value. So in some countries, the currency symbol is after the number. Duplicate venues and organizers. So I'll show you what that means in a moment. But say when you create an event, you create an organizer, which is you, and an event place. So say you put the event in as, Sandra's Stamping Suite, and then another time you put it in as Sandra's Home, and you realize it's all the same place. So you want to merge them. You can merge duplicates going back in and clicking here. So move trash events older than, and so I've turned that off so nothing gets trashed. Because the other thing about events, say you have a monthly stamp a stack of cards, or a monthly, what's it called, the Paper Pumpkin, or some other subscription, and part of their subscription you they can come and make projects with it. So you don't want to permanently delete or trash, because you can take an old event and basically republish it with a different date and time. So that'll save you a little time. You can enable Google Maps and make the default level. I will say that as of this writing, I have never gotten Google Maps to work, even if I put in an exact address, and I don't always. So miscellaneous settings, enable time zone support, meaning if somebody signs up in a different time zone, so you can update time zone. Please configure WordPress to use the correct time zone before using this. So you can do crazy stuff. Say you live on a city has 2 time zones, or a time zone in the next city. So that's where you would use that. So save your changes, and then you'll see there are now display. So this is where it gets kind of fuzzy. I use this mostly on StudioPress Genesis websites, and it looks beautiful, but I have found the hard way that it doesn't always look great if you're using another theme. And that's when, you know, a little bit of CSS goes a long way. And if that is Greek to you, then you might have trouble using it. But I have found that if you put tribe event styles, that will be a fully designed theme for your event page. And you want the default event template. Now, if that looks awful and it does not look like this, then the problem that you're going to have, go to the events calendar. So the problem that you're going to have with this, and if it doesn't look good, is you don't have a lot of recourse. But what you can do is you can work your way backward from full styles to skeleton styles. And each one of them should make it look a little better. You can also play with the default event template. Take it from there, make it the default page template, or archive, or landing takes away the sidebar completely. So work with these things, but for best practices, if it works at all, tribe event styles, meaning its own style sheet that will load, and the default template for the events, which was imported with this plugin. And if that works, you're golden. If it doesn't, again, you're going to have to mess with it a little. So I don't like the day. I told you that, you know, otherwise I have to flip through day by day by day. I choose for it to always start on list instead of month. You can do month if you have a lot of events, but I have an event that doesn't start for 2 months. So I want list, because that will always show you the next event coming up, no matter how long it is. So disable the search bar. So it's unchecked because you want people to search by the name of the event. If you have a lot of them, or you schedule far out, you're going to want to leave that in there. Month view events per day. So if in the month view you have more than 3 events, it won't show it. It'll only show the 3, and then it probably shows dots. I've never tried that, but you want them to show at least 2. I can only imagine you might have a morning and an evening event, but you might use, like I said, new catalog announcements or specials like Celebration. You might want to put that on your calendar with details about how they can contact you and book a party and blah blah blah. That would end up making a 2 event on your calendar, along with the announcement, 3 events. I can't see you doing more than that, but if you do, you can choose how many events are going to show up on the month view. So enable the month view cache, and so this will improve some site speed. If you find that your calendar isn't updating or whatever, you can uncheck that. So date format, so you can play with this. I've never really looked at this, doesn't bother me. Advanced template, so you could add HTML before and after the events. So you can add information up here. So that's a little bit of advanced. And then save your changes. So you're going to be taking these tabs one by one. Licenses, you don't need a license. If you want to buy a license, you can do that, and then there's more things that you can get for it. APIs are for integrating Google Maps. Maybe this is why Google Maps does not work. So there you go, learn something new when you read. So Google Maps API. I don't know a lot of people that want to put their address right there on the internet, although it's out there anyway if you're unlisted, if you are listed in the phone book. But you can generate an API key, which I won't show. And then I'm not sure what imports mean. I never looked at this. Overwrite my events. So you can export, I guess, and import your events. Use the options to configure your imports. Okay, so you can import events from something else. Okay, so back here to the front. So these are everything you need for the event setup. So this is the overview of the event setting tabs. That's the first things that you're going to set up with the events. And then the nice thing is, in the event tab itself, every time you add an event, you can save certain parts of that for reuse. So I'll walk you through as we do it. So we're going to do name the class. Okay, and then if you want to add a picture of it, and if you want to, your alt text will be you would put in here possibly any keywords or key phrases that you want for a Google search, and then insert that into the post. Oh, we're working on text view. I'll switch that to visual mode. And you can put the text either above or below. You can put as much information as you want. You can include stuff in here like bring your own scissors and glue. I don't know. Whatever you want to include in here, this will give them a little more idea of it. So you put the start and end date. So for this, we're gonna put this out to here. You can do the start and date. Start and end time. So make that 3 to 5, or you can create an all-day event. The venue. Okay, so I have a venue in here already. So I'm going to create one that's this website belongs to Tony, so it's Tony's Stampin' Suite. Okay, so Tony's Stampin' Suite. Okay, so it has created it. So you can put the address in here, or you can leave it blank. You don't have to. I'll turn off the maps and the link. If you want to put your address on it, anything that you put in here will show up on the autoresponder for the person when they register. That is if you are using the registration module. You do not have to. You can have right in the article itself, you know, email me at, you know, tonysanderson.com, you know, to register. So you could do that where they can just email you directly to register, or you can put the whole address. And we said city. So you could put as much or as little information. None of that is required. So the organizer would be me, or, you know, Tony. You can add another organizer here, but it will remember. So the next event that you do, when you create this venue or when you choose this venue, it will automatically fill in where that is. Again, that information will show up on your website, so you can decide whether or not, if you have an event website, so say you're doing this as you're promoting an event and there's a different web page that you want them to register on, you can send them to register at that. Or if you have a Facebook event, you want people to sign up through that. So currency symbol currently is $, and we're going to make this $20. Okay, and then you can disable registrations, meaning if you don't want to take registrations, and this is an information only post, for example, you can limit registrations. You can limit it to the number of people that you have, and it will show you how many seats that you have left. Deadline time, you can end it at the start time, meaning people can basically walk in. Or if you want to do an end time, or if you want to have the deadline at the end, I don't know why you would want to do that. Or no deadline, it's walk-in. Or you can set the date and time that the deadline for RSVPing is. So notification email recipients. You can leave this blank and it will work on whatever is in the settings, in your settings, general settings, whoever the admin is. But say somebody who's not an admin of the site is going to be running it, so you have an assistant, you can have the notification come from them. So this also, the registration form is turned on. Registration is turned on. This is an example of that plugin I was talking about before. The registration for the event registration plugin is here. So you can see if you wanted to embed a registration form manually, you can. But you don't have to embed this because this will show up automatically in the event. So say you just wanted to create another post and you wanted the registration form to be embedded in a different post altogether. So you do a more in-depth article on your site, blog post, you can just use this embed code right in the article, and that will allow them to register now. So you could play with the code itself. Excerpt, if you wanted to, usually for an excerpt I ignore them, but if you wanted to, you could actually make this the excerpt. You can copy and paste that down here. That's when you're sharing it or something, and wherever you're sharing it to will grab an excerpt. So custom fields, which you don't need, and let's see what else. We're going to, if you want to put an event category, so say you have a scrapbooking club, or say you have, I always had a Stamp a Stack of Cards. It was once a month, and I had stamp camps once a quarter. I had an event called Stamp-a-Palooza twice a year. And so if you have an event, like you have like I said, scrapbooking club, or if you have an event every month for the subscription services like Paper Pumpkin, you can have a Paper Pumpkin club. So in return for them being subscribed, they can come and take a class. So name your categories, and that way too on the event, put Stamp Camp here. On the event, they can find events based on the keyword or category here. So you can have the option of hide from event listings. So say you create an event, you're not quite ready to, you want to publish it, but you're not quite ready for the public to see it. You can hide it from the listing. You can sticky in month view, meaning it will stick to the top of the page. And feature event, and I'm not positive what that does. Highlighted on the front end in views, archives, and widgets. So somehow WordPress will highlight this post if you wanted. And then very important, you want to set a featured image. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the same image that you used in here. So now we're going to publish this. Okay. And then let's look at what the events look like. I forgot when I made it. Okay, September. So this shows up first, and if I click on it, you can see there's a register now at the top. Unfortunately, you can't really control where that shows up. And this is annoying. I'm not positive why, but this plugin does not work very nicely with this, the social warfare plugin. So I know that's ugly, so I apologize. But they can click register now, and you can collect this information. And you can control what it is that they collect too. So that is an idea of setting up one. And you can see it's really simple. It's just as easy as creating a post. So now we'll talk about the registrations. Now this is where you can see everybody who's registered, if anybody has registered. And then you can edit the form. The thing about editing the form and the email is this will go for every single event. So you have to think of it as this can't be customized per event. This is the form that you want people to sign up. So limit registrations. I only want one registration per event. I don't want somebody registering for their 5 friends and 4 of them have never heard that the event was even going on. So I always make it so that 1 registration per person, and then the other person, if they want to come, they have to sign up. So check for duplicate emails. They would get kicked back something that says, well, you're already registered for the event. So they've put some dummy information here. I've had, I guess, okay, accept registrations up to 5 hours before. So this is a redundancy. It probably, I would say, will override the main core, the event registration, or I'm sorry, the event calendar plugin, because this is on top of that plugin. So select form. It comes with some of these already there. I believe that you can change them. You could add fields down at the bottom. So I like first and last. I require the email, a mobile phone, and anything else that you would like to put in there. Terms and conditions. So some of these are if you want them to accept the terms and conditions of coming to your class, if you want to think about what it is that you'd like to, if you have a terms and conditions page, or I don't know what you would want to do with that. But reCAPTCHA is a simple math problem that will determine if they're a real person or a robot. And then register now button. So that button that you see for register now, you can change the name of it, what it says. Guest attending. I think some of these are really self-explanatory. Submit button, success. So they'll get an email that can allow them to unregister. So you can add this button here, and then you can, you can add the unregister tool to the website as well. So you can do an attendee list.
Call from Red Lion.
I tend to not do that. So attendee display, I don't tend to do that. I don't necessarily want everybody to know who else is registered. Form location before the content. Oh. After the meta. I think that this creates the width of the form. So I think form color background. So this is all about the form. You can style that. Advanced messaging source, phone number, format, preserve settings. Okay, so we can just, let's look and see how that has changed the form. Okay, and so that register now has moved down. at the bottom here, which is where I'd kind of expect it to be, not like right under it. So you can, change where that form is. I've never even noticed that. So the email itself, you're going to want to put the confirmation address, something obviously something that you're going to be sure to receive. Okay? So by default, there is a notification, and you don't want it to be some crazy name. You want it to be notification recipient's email, notification from the event calendar, registration, notification. So confirmation email is what the person who registered gets. So this is from you, your notification email, from you to you. Confirmation email, you want to have it from, put your name, the subject, you could put I would put registration confirmation for, and then the event title. It will fill in whatever you put as the title. So this has these, what do you call it, like dummy contact form fills here. So hey, first name, whatever they put in the first name form, you're registered for, event title, at venue, on event date. So it fills all that in for you, and then it'll put in the address. Now if you didn't put your address in here and you only had it as like Tony's Stamp and Suite, you are going to want to follow up with where it is if they don't know, if they're brand new. Now this, you're looking at the free versions. So you can't do a lot of template text find and replace. So please prepay the event sending payment to, and then I like the paypal.me. You can go to paypal.me and create an account by logging into your PayPal account, and it will send. So I have one at Amy Salona. I also have one for my business. So somebody can go to paypalme.amysalona or paypal.me/Amy Salona and send me that amount. Now, unfortunately, I think it's not giving you any of the other customized things. Let me look at here. Venue, city, first name. Okay, so it doesn't give you the price. So even though I put the price on there, there's no form fill here to tell them what costs, because you might have an event that's free, you might have an event that's $25. So you can tell them that you require prepayment, and you can even give them a link to where they can prepay or send a check. Now, of course, if you did not add the city, state, zip, and you're just going on your Stampin' Room thing, and maybe city, you're going to want to follow up this registration with an email saying, hey, thanks for registering. So then you can be more exact. But with this, it's not allowing you to put the amount in. And again, this will be the registration module for all of it. So at that point, you would put, your name, and then you just put your contact information, your phone number, and then follow up with them. That way they get a confirmation that they know that they have registered. And I believe that there is an unregister that is in there as well, a link that comes through. So if you wanted to, you could honestly upgrade the event calendar, and maybe there would be a better registration module, one that you can pay through. It's just that, if if you can get away with free, there's nothing worse. If you can get away with free, nothing better than that. So here's, you can go to venues if you wanted to change, edit, or delete any venue. Organizers too. If you made a typo and you wanted to make any changes to it, you would do that here. Here's your settings again and help. There are other add-ons if you chose. You can buy these add-ons, event tickets. So here it is, you can sell event tickets and stuff. So these are all purchasable, and of course I'm all about the what can you do for free, but that's just me. As a reminder, if you have any questions, you can, and you are a client of mine, you can go to WebsByAmy/support and put a trouble ticket in, or check out my knowledge base there. Other than that, good luck, and let me know if you have any questions.